The guard had no choice but to accuse him of being the murderer. Rudo was just a mere boy, stripped of his rights in this cruel world. He ended up sentenced to execution, condemned to the abyss. Now, fueled by vengeance, he vowed to eliminate all those who had looked down on him, who had failed to fight for his rights. They say the soul resides in cherished things. So what dwells in discarded trash on the other side of the world? A girl can easily replace her torn toys, though not long ago they were prized possessions. People here turn valuable things to trash so easily, just as they discard human worth. In the midst of this societal decay, a loud clamor echoed through the waste collection site. The guard, alerted, rushed to investigate. Peering through the glass window, he was shocked to see a man rifling through the bags inside. Confronting him, the guard demanded his identity. As the man turned, the guard recognized him as the notorious trash vandal, wreaking havoc on the town's beauty by spreading refuse. Despite the guard's efforts, the trash vandal eluded capture, slipping away like a shadow. Authorities initiated a widespread search, determined to apprehend him at any cost. Yet, to the vandal, he saw no crime in his actions, merely a different perspective on the discarded items. As night fell, whispers of the trash vandal circulated among the city's inhabitants. Some pondered his motives, while others feared the implications of his actions. The societal divide between the affluent and the impoverished became evident, with disdain emanating from the former towards the latter. Meanwhile, in the slums, the rumors stirred unease among the residents, fearing the inevitable crackdown by law enforcement. Amidst this turmoil, a young girl named Chiwa emerged onto the scene, a symbol of innocence amidst the chaos. Chiwa couldn't help but express her concern as Rudo ventured out once again to scavenge through the town's refuse, despite the strict regulations on waste disposal. She questioned why he risked himself in such a perilous endeavor. In response, Rudo passionately explained his motives. He saw value in the discarded items, especially those cast off by the affluent. It wasn't just about survival, it was about salvaging what society deemed unworthy. Their conversation was abruptly halted by the arrival of three individuals who disparaged Rudo's appearance and lineage. Their derogatory remarks about his tattered gloves and accusations regarding his parentage fueled Rudo's simmering anger. The insinuation that he was following in his parents' criminal footsteps struck a nerve, igniting a fierce reaction from him. Yet, Chiwa's steadfast belief in him provided a glimmer of solace amidst the turmoil. In a gesture of sincerity, Rudo offered Chiwa a teddy bear he had rescued from the waste center, emphasizing its sentimental value. Before Chiwa could accept it, she was called away by a resident, leaving Rudo alone with his thoughts in the dimly lit alley. Upon returning home, Rudo was startled to find his father aware of his feelings for Chiwa. Despite his embarrassment, his father reassured him, expressing concern for his safety and well-being. Though not his biological father, the bond between them was evident in their exchange. Rudo's father urged him to prioritize his safety over financial gain, acknowledging the risks inherent in his clandestine activities. As Rudo reflected on the day's events, he realized that his father's concern stemmed from a place of genuine care, reinforcing the notion that family transcends blood ties. Bound not by blood, but by the ties of compassion, Rio had taken Rudo under his wing as an abandoned child, nurturing him into the person he had become. Yet, Rudo's actions weren't merely driven by a sense of obligation towards Rio, they stemmed from his own desires. Despite Rio's attempts to dissuade him, Rudo remained steadfast in his pursuit. However, Rio's concerns only grew, especially after Rudo was wounded by authorities the previous night. To Rudo, the gunshot wound was a trivial matter compared to the emotional scars left by his parents. Rio, rendered momentarily speechless by Rudo's resilience, eventually voiced his concerns, warning him of the dire consequences if caught. He implored Rudo to cherish his own life, even in a world as bleak as theirs. Rudo's hands bore the physical and emotional marks of his past, shunned by society. The gloves given to him by Rio offered solace, alleviating the pain that plagued him. Rudo felt indebted to Rio, a debt he knew he could never fully repay. Amidst their conversation, an unknown figure lurked outside, observing Rudo from a distance. Encouraged by Ryo, Rudo resolved to pursue Chiwa's affections, despite the looming threat of the abyss, the sprawling dump site where both trash and criminals were discarded. As he made his way to Chiwa's home, thoughts of the abyss consumed him. Wondering about the fate of those cast into its depths, Chiwa's intervention, urging him to abandon his risky pursuits, only fueled Rudo's determination. With courage bolstered, he confessed his feelings to Chiwa, presenting her with the cherished stuffed toy he had longed to give her. Eager to share his triumph with Ryo, Rudo raced home, only to be jolted by a sudden collision with a stranger. Brushing off the encounter, he continued homeward, brimming with excitement. However, the scene that awaited him shattered his euphoria. Ryo lay on the ground, grievously wounded. Despite Rudo's desperate attempts to summon help, he found himself accused of Ryo's murder. Defiantly, he proclaimed his innocence, but as he gazed upon his foster father's fading form, a chilling realization dawned upon him: Ryo's true assailant was still at large. As Rudo's clothes became stained with blood, the guard had no choice but to accuse him of the murder. The news spread rapidly through the slums, shocking even Chiwa, who couldn't believe the accusations against the boy she had grown to love. Yet, in this unjust world, Rudo, lacking rights or representation, was swiftly sentenced to execution and cast into the abyss. In the eyes of the authorities, Rudo's actions tarnished their sacred land, turning him from a mere scavenger into a condemned criminal. Despite his tribal origins, there was no tolerance for his alleged transgressions. The lack of a proper investigation only solidified the public's belief in his guilt, even causing Chiwa to turn away from him. Feeling betrayed and abandoned by those he trusted, Rudo voiced his disdain for the hypocritical society that cast him aside. As he descended into the darkness of the abyss, he vowed vengeance against those who had condemned him without a second thought. However, what awaited Rudo in the depths was beyond his imagination. Amidst the foul stench of garbage, he encountered monstrous beings, manifestations of the very filth he was accused of spreading. As he fought for survival, he was confronted with the grim reality of the abyss, a graveyard of forgotten souls, littered with skulls and remnants of those who had met a similar fate. Exhausted and disoriented, Rudo struggled to comprehend the horrors around him. As the monsters closed in, he fought desperately, driven by a primal instinct to escape the abyss and seek retribution. But amidst the chaos, he couldn't shake the haunting question: how had these monstrous entities come to inhabit this desolate place? With each leap and dodge, Rudo's resolve wavered, his tired eyes reflecting the weight of his ordeal. The sight of the dead, strewn among the relentless pursuit of the monsters, served as a grim reminder of the stakes he faced. Yet, determined to survive, he pressed on, clinging to the hope of emerging from the abyss to confront those who had condemned him to this nightmarish fate. In the midst of the chaotic chase, Rudo's anger simmered against those who had condemned him to this desolate realm. No matter how far he fled, the torment persisted, exacerbated by the toxic air that threatened to suffocate him. Yet survival remained his sole focus, driving him to seek refuge in a place untouched by the suffocating grip of the abyss. As he navigated the treacherous terrain, doubts gnawed at Rudo's resolve. Was there any sanctuary in this wasteland of refuse? With each passing moment, his strength waned, his body betraying him to the relentless pursuit of the monstrous creatures. Yet, a flicker of determination remained, fueled by the memory of Ryo's lifeless form and the desire for justice. Summoning his last reserves of strength, Rudo seized a metal pipe, confronting the beasts with unwavering resolve. Unbeknownst to him, an observer watched from afar, their identity shrouded in mystery. With a mighty throw, Rudo's makeshift weapon found its mark, shattering the creature into fragments. But victory was short-lived as the debris cascaded upon him, immobilizing his legs. Trapped and vulnerable, Rudo faced the grim prospect of defeat. Yet salvation came in the form of a stranger wielding an umbrella, their motives unclear. Despite initial hope, Rudo's optimism was shattered as he was abruptly kicked aside, coughing up blood. But amidst the chaos, the stranger offered a lifeline, equipping Rudo with a gas mask, restoring his ability to breathe. With clarity of mind restored, Rudo pondered the identity and intentions of his enigmatic savior, wary yet grateful for their intervention in his hour of need. The man, revealed to be a fellow human named Engine, is met with Rudo's barrage of questions about their surroundings and the monstrous creatures that attacked. Despite Enjin's initial attempts to silence him, Rudo persists, desperate for answers in this bewildering abyss. Enjin finally relents, explaining that they are still on the surface. Amidst heaps of garbage dumped by the Sky People, these trash piles attract not only the monstrous entities Rudo encountered, but also aberrant beasts, more formidable and elusive foes. Enjin's expertise with his umbrella weapon proves invaluable in dispatching the creatures, showcasing his prowess in this harsh environment. Witnessing Enjin's skillful combat techniques, Rudo marvels at the possibility of acquiring such power. He sees it as a means to exact vengeance upon those who betrayed him above. As Enjin unveils his face and introduces himself as an average janitor, Rudo's mind races with memories of Ryo's teachings about cherishing objects and the souls that dwell within them. Reflecting on the significance of the gloves given to him by Ryo, Rudo ponders the potential for a soul to inhabit them through his deep connection to them. However, his contemplation is abruptly interrupted as he awakens to find himself bound and chained, his previous encounter with Enjin merely a dream. Shocked and disoriented, Rudo realizes he has fainted, with Enjin now tasked with dragging him out of his predicament. As Rudo grapples with the disorienting transition from dream to reality, he is left to ponder the mysteries of the abyss and his own quest for redemption. Furious at being constrained like an animal, Rudo demands that Enjin remove the chain, eager to find a way back to the surface, which the abyss inhabitants refer to as heaven. However, Enjin explains the futility of such attempts, describing heaven as a constantly shifting realm inaccessible to those below. Despite Enjin's warnings, Rudo remains determined to return, fueled by memories of Ryo and the betrayal he endured. Convinced that Enjin holds the key to his return, Rudo resolves to extract every bit of knowledge from him. In a surprising turn, Enjin agrees to educate Rudo about the abyss, acknowledging the harsh realities of their world. But before their lessons can begin, Enjin unceremoniously tosses Rudo into a secluded area to rest, leaving him frustrated and cursing his lack of immediate answers. However, Rudo's solitude is short-lived as he is soon approached by others wearing gas masks similar to his own. Their curiosity about Rudo's origins quickly turns to awe and disbelief when he reveals he is a sky person fallen from heaven. Yet Rudo's hopes for camaraderie are shattered as he finds himself imprisoned in a cage, realizing that in the abyss, sky people like himself are highly sought-after commodities. It becomes clear to Rudo that the denizens of the abyss covet sky people not out of admiration, but out of resentment for the generations of garbage dumped upon them from above. The Sky People's bodies fetch exorbitant prices, a testament to the deep-seated animosity between the two worlds. Rudo now faces the grim reality of his situation, realizing that his very existence has become a lucrative commodity in a world driven by hatred and greed. The air grew toxic, spawning monsters from the waste and leading to numerous deaths and home losses due to severe land contamination. When denizens of the abyss capture a live sky person like Rudo, they subject them to torture and dissection shows. Before such gruesome acts, they attempted to torment Rudo by forcing him to eat scraps of food. However, Rudo's resilience surprises them as he sees these scraps not as trash but as sustenance, highlighting the disregard both the people from above and the abyss have for waste management. Observing Rudo's actions, Enjin anticipated his rebellion. When Rudo breaks free from his chains and retaliates against his captors using newfound powers, the men are shocked. Despite attempts to overpower him, they fall to Rudo's abilities. Even when they try to disarm him, Rudo proves resourceful, defeating them one by one. As Rudo is about to deliver the final blow, Enjin intervenes, urging him to calm down. In the aftermath, Rudo is perplexed by his own capabilities, while Enjin, understanding the magnitude of Rudo's power, apologizes for triggering it. Recognizing Rudo's potential, Enjin offers to teach him about the world and his abilities, proposing that Rudo join him as a janitor, a role that would benefit from Rudo's talents. However, Rudo remains adamant in his refusal, unwilling to align himself with Enjin's agenda. The Enjin, despite its initial reluctance, found itself reaching out for assistance, a rare occurrence indeed, contacting one of his closest confidants, an unnamed individual who instinctively understood the gravity of the situation. It seemed the engine had stumbled upon a prodigy in the form of Rudo, a revelation that took even the engine by surprise. While still conversing, the engine revealed an unexpected encounter with Rudo in the forbidden area. Astonishingly, Rudo possessed the sought-after ability they had been seeking. However, sensing an air of peculiarity surrounding Rudo's gift, the engine decided to enlist him as a janitor, a decision met with Rudo's resistance. Undeterred by Rudo's objections, the engine dryly remarked on Rudo's lack of options, a subtle reminder of his predicament. Despite Rudo's insistence on his original agenda to ascend to the heavens, the engine's associate, an elder attending to Rudo's injuries, interjected. He reminded Rudo of his fortunate survival, a rarity in the perilous depths of the forbidden area. Acknowledging Rudo's stroke of luck, the elder hinted at Rudo's perceived misfortune, exacerbated by his abduction. Yet, amidst the adversity, Rudo owed his continued existence to the engine's intervention, covering his medical expenses. However, this gesture didn't bind Rudo to the janitorial duties. His paramount objective remained uncovering the mysteries of the abyss, a quest for which he risked his life. The engine cautioned Rudo about the hostility he'd face from the denizens of the abyss, emphasizing the peril of his quest for knowledge. Aware of the inevitable danger lurking in the shadows, Rudo begrudgingly acquiesced to accompany the engine, recognizing the harsh reality of their circumstances. Descending into the abyss, Rudo's preconceived notions shattered as he beheld a semblance of civilization amidst the refuse. Over a meal, the engine enlightened Rudo about the unique dynamics of the abyss, where emotions and thoughts amalgamated into a potent energy. This energy birthed aberrant beasts, among other phenomena, a testament to the volatile nature of their surroundings. The beasts prowled relentlessly, their presence a constant threat looming over the residents of the town. While primarily lurking within the dump site area, their encroachment into residential territories was an ever-looming possibility. Rudo, sensing the impending danger, proposed fortifying the defenses, only to be reminded by the engine of the futility of conventional weaponry against these creatures. Their cores were not of mere trash, but manifestations of thoughts, a stark reality that rendered conventional weapons ineffective. However, amidst the bleak outlook, there existed a glimmer of hope embodied in the concept of jinki. These were objects imbued with heartfelt thoughts, potent enough to disrupt the core of an aberrant beast. Few possessed the ability to harness the power of these jinki, and Rudo found himself among this select group. He and the engine were what they called givers, integral members of the janitorial organization, dedicated to eradicating these aberrations. Engine's proposition to enlist Rudo as a janitor came with the implicit promise of uncovering the path to heaven. Yet, it became evident that even Engine himself lacked the knowledge of ascending to such heights. However, there was a glimmer of hope in the form of Engine's enigmatic boss, a figure believed to hold the key to such revelations. As Rudo contemplated his role within the organization and the prospect of seeking guidance from Engine's boss, the conversation took a poignant turn. Engine's inquiry about Rudo's gloves unearthed a poignant tale of familial connection, as Rudo revealed that they were a cherished memento from his father. Despite their worn appearance, the gloves bore the mark of careful preservation, a testament to Rudo's reverence for his father's memory. Moved by the exchange, Engine offered a token of gratitude, symbolized by a bag of money, urging Rudo to spend it wisely. This gesture, though initially overwhelming, served as a reminder of Engine's investment in Rudo's journey. Yet, Rudo's resolve remained unyielding, anchored by his determination to reunite with his father in the heavens. With gratitude expressed and agreements reached, the dynamic between Engine and Rudo shifted, marked by a delicate balance of mutual assistance and individual aspirations. And as they embarked on their intertwined paths, the promise of revelation and redemption lingered on the horizon, guiding their steps through the enigmatic depths of the abyss. Amidst their ongoing conversation, a stray cat suddenly dashed off, absconding with all of Rudo's money in tow. Reacting swiftly, Rudo gave chase, inadvertently snatching a nearby stick from a passerby, much to the frustration of its owner. Surprisingly, the man bore the emblem of a janitor, revealing himself as a fellow member of the organization, albeit unnamed for the moment. Fueled by anger, the janitor warned Rudo not to underestimate the significance of his jinki, brandishing the stick menacingly. Though Rudo trembled in fear, the janitor's strike never materialized. Instead, it was a lesson veiled in intimidation. Recognizing the gravity of his actions, Rudo was chastised for his transgression and cautioned against repeating such behavior. Identifying himself as Zanka Nick, the janitor appointed by Engine to mentor Rudo, he expressed disbelief at Rudo's actions and lamented the lack of proper upbringing. Rudo, stung by the implication of parental negligence, struggled to contain his anger. Yet, recalling his father's teachings on compromise and empathy, he endeavored to diffuse the tension. Realizing the importance of considering others' perspectives, Rudo acknowledged Zanka's feelings and extended a sincere apology. Despite the blow to his pride, Rudo recognized his fault and sought reconciliation. Even as Zanka remained skeptical, Rudo persisted in expressing remorse, understanding the necessity of humility in resolving conflicts. In the aftermath of the altercation, Rudo internalized the lesson on empathy, recognizing the significance of acknowledging others' emotions in conflict resolution. Though bruised by the encounter, he emerged wiser, committed to navigating the complexities of the abyss with both resilience and compassion. As Rudo offered his genuine explanation, it surprisingly assuaged Zanka's simmering anger, leading to a swift resolution of their dispute. Yet, Rudo found himself bewildered by the ease with which peace was restored, a novel experience in conflict resolution for him. Recalling Ryo's teachings on the power of a smile, Rudo attempted to diffuse the tension, albeit with unintended consequences. His efforts at smiling seemed to misfire, leaving Zanka with the wrong impression and Rudo perplexed about his misstep. Undeterred, Rudo persisted in his attempts to mend the situation, but his efforts only seemed to exacerbate their conflict. Their altercation escalated into a duel, with Zanka underestimating Rudo's prowess, confident in his own superiority. However, as the fight unfolded, Zanka was taken aback by Rudo's ability to transmute objects into Jinki with a mere touch, a power that defied his expectations. Despite Rudo's relentless determination, Zanka's relentless assaults began to take their toll, eroding Rudo's resolve. Taunted by Zanka's derogatory remarks, Rudo struggled to find his footing, his spirit waning with each blow. However, fueled by a surge of fury, Rudo retaliated with an unconventional choice of weapon, a plunger, much to Zanka's disbelief and disdain. Infuriated by Rudo's audacity, Zanka found himself overwhelmed by a sense of panic as Rudo pressed his advantage. The plunger, wielded with unexpected effectiveness by Rudo, sent Zanka into a frenzied retreat, his bravado crumbling in the face of the unorthodox assault. Despite his confusion over the unfolding events, Rudo pressed on, relentless in his pursuit, as Zanka pleaded for mercy, unable to evade the relentless onslaught. In the midst of the chaotic confrontation, Rudo remained undeterred, driven by a determination to assert his strength. With each stride forward, he closed the gap between them, leaving Zanka with no choice but to confront the consequences of his actions. As the conflict reached its climax, Rudo's resolve remained unshaken, a testament to his unwavering determination in the face of adversity. As the tension reached its peak, Engine made a grand entrance, driving his jeep onto the scene. Delighted by the newfound camaraderie between Rudo and Zanka, Engine erupted into laughter upon learning of their unorthodox duel. Meanwhile, Rudo was taken aback to realize he had been fighting with a plunger, a revelation that added an unexpected twist to their encounter. To lighten the mood, Engine introduced Zanka as the most adept handler of Jinki among the janitors, positioning him as Rudo's mentor. Zanka, surprised by Engine's acknowledgement, found himself unexpectedly thrust into a mentoring role. Amidst their conversation, a girl named Ryo lounged in the background, seemingly unfazed by the commotion. When Ryo's attention shifted to Rudo's vibrant hair, he found himself awkwardly flustered, unaccustomed to such scrutiny. Intrigued by Ryo's presence, Rudo pondered her role within the organization, wary of potential complications. With their destination in sight, Engine announced their arrival at the janitor's headquarters, signaling the beginning of a new chapter for Rudo. Descending into the underground facility, Rudo marveled at its vastness, awestruck by the scale of their headquarters. Inside, they were greeted by a woman named Siyu, the receptionist, whose keen perception made her an indispensable asset to the organization. Engine emphasized the importance of Siyu's assessment, as her ability to discern individuals' true nature was crucial for admission. Following Siyu's appraisal, Rudo was welcomed as the newest addition to their ranks, his arrival anticipated by all. Engin's prior discussions had evidently piqued the curiosity of the headquarters inhabitants, setting the stage for Rudo's integration into their community. As the initial formalities concluded, Rudo braced himself for the challenges that lay ahead, eager to prove himself in this new environment. With Siyu's approval secured, he embarked on his journey as a janitor, ready to confront whatever trials awaited him within the labyrinthine corridors of the headquarters. Siyu's excitement at meeting Rudo in person was palpable, as she eagerly assessed his full potential using her unique ability granted by her eyeglasses. With her enhanced kinetic vision, she could peer into a person's true nature, a revelation that both surprised and intrigued Rudo. However, Siyu was taken aback when she observed only a buzzing figure when scrutinizing Rudo more closely. Recognizing his exceptional physical abilities, Siyu concluded that Rudo's harmonization with his Jinki was remarkable but required further refinement. Acknowledging the need for Rudo to cleanse himself of the fecal matter covering his neck, their conversation with Siyu concluded, and Engin proposed a meeting with the boss. Engin explained the dynamics of the janitorial organization, comprising approximately 100 members spread across various bases. Although Engin intended to introduce Rudo to the remaining members, they were stunned to find nearly 30 individuals awaiting them, prompting a decision to postpone the introductions. As they prepared to visit the boss's office, Rudo expressed his eagerness to inquire about ascending to the heavens, much to Engin's disbelief. Engin cautioned Rudo about the value of information in their world and the need for careful consideration before pursuing such inquiries. Emphasizing the boss's enigmatic nature and the importance of loyalty, Engin urged Rudo to tread cautiously. However, upon reaching the boss's office, they discovered his absence, prompting Rio to suggest observing the team's cleanup work in the meantime. With Rudo unofficially apprenticed to the janitors, he embarked on his observational journey, eager to learn more about his newfound colleagues and their operations. As they ventured to the cleanup site, Rio reminded the team to remain vigilant, underscoring the importance of their task. Amidst the hustle and bustle of their work, Rudo began to immerse himself in the intricacies of janitorial duties, eager to prove his worth and unravel the mysteries of the abyss alongside his new companions. As they commenced their cleanup duty in the contamination zone, Siyu provided insight into its nature and the division of the world into safe zones and contaminated areas inhabited by aberrant beasts. Rudo, still unfamiliar with these terms, listened attentively as Siyu explained the perilous conditions of the Forbidden Zone, where even the most skilled givers struggled against the ferocious beasts that lurked within. Engin's unexpected presence in the Forbidden Zone raised eyebrows, but Siyu dismissed her suspicions for the time being, emphasizing the importance of wearing protective masks due to the toxic substances present in the air. Samu reinforced the severity of the situation, warning Rudo of the dire consequences of venturing into the Forbidden Zone without proper protection. As Rudo navigated the contamination zone, his thoughts drifted to the abyss and the mysteries it held. However, his musings were interrupted by the presence of his fellow janitors, the supporters, who lacked the abilities of givers but played a crucial role in aiding their colleagues. Introductions were cut short as the group encountered a herd of aberrant beasts, prompting a moment of tension. Rio reassured Rudo of the beasts' relative weakness, but their sudden aggression dispelled any sense of complacency. As the beasts charged towards them, Rudo realized the true danger they faced, setting the stage for a harrowing encounter in the heart of the contamination zone. The aberrant beasts were anything but docile. Despite the grave situation, Rio appeared unfazed. Rudo couldn't help but wonder about Rio's true nature. With a radiant smile, Rio remarked that maintaining a calm mind was crucial to survival in this environment. It dawned on Rio that most people in this world possessed such tranquility, prompting him to make it his own goal. Yet, to his surprise, achieving such a state proved challenging in this unforgiving underworld where everything exceeded expectations. Rio's unique approach to combat caught Rudo off guard. Before tackling the largest threat, she meticulously dealt with the smaller ones, displaying her skill with the Ripper, a weapon she wielded with her feet. This unconventional usage intrigued Rudo, highlighting each individual's distinctive methods. As the battle intensified, Rudo grappled with his emotions, reminding himself of his purpose among the janitors. While he initially struggled, he resolved to prove his worth. When his lack of proficiency became apparent, Rio swiftly intervened, praising his bravery. Together, they endured the arduous fight, eventually finding a moment of respite. Reflecting on his lapse in vigilance, a supporter apologized, prompting Rio to continue her assault on the remaining foe. Despite her efforts, the beast proved resilient, resisting her Jinki's attempts to subdue it. The team's exhaustion was palpable as they faced this unexpected challenge. As the janitors grappled with the resilient aberrant beast, a sense of urgency pervaded their ranks. Back in town, the individuals seeking Rudo found themselves in the grasp of someone hunting the elusive sky person. But let's return to Rudo and his companions, facing a dire situation as they struggled to dispatch the seemingly invulnerable monster. It was a first encounter with an aberrant beast impervious to Jin-Ki attacks, leaving them perplexed. According to Rio, an aberrant beast's vital points mirrored those of a living creature. Ordinarily, severing such points would result in instant demise. Yet this particular creature posed an unprecedented challenge. Undeterred, Rio remained optimistic, determined to overcome this formidable adversary through relentless cutting, despite the daunting task ahead. The supporters diligently documented the encounter, recognizing it as a potential threat to nearby settlements. This revelation spurred Rudo to action, though his innate shyness hindered his ability to express his intentions. Nevertheless, Rio proceeded with her plan to trim the wild locks obstructing their path, albeit without the proper tools, causing delays. Finally, after painstaking effort, Rio uncovered a peculiar glow emanating from within the beast. As she investigated further, the creature suddenly collapsed, narrowly avoiding a catastrophic outcome for the entire team. Rudo grappled with a surge of realizations, questioning his purpose and his ability to contribute effectively. Before despair could consume him, the supporters intervened, rallying to his aid and urging him to press on. As they fled the scene, the supporters' encouragement spurred Rudo to action, urging him to seize any opportunity to pursue his goals. Meanwhile, Rio remained undeterred, relentlessly pursuing her quarry until victory was secured. Upon closer inspection, they discovered unsettling truths concealed within the aberrant beast, prompting speculation about the origin of these aberrations and the mysteries that lay ahead.